Hi, I'm Karen Roby with ZDNet, talking today about millennials and tech and security. We're talking with Chris Matizczyk on this. And, Chris, it seems millennials, unfortunately, they get a bad rap sometimes, it seems, for a number of things. But ignoring security reminders, is this something new, something that they're doing? Tell us about it.
Oh, it's not just IT security reminders. Apparently, millennials simply don't want to follow the rules, or rather, just don't. You can decide whether it's because they don't want to, or because they're so committed to their startup or huge corporation that they need to be productive. And so what's most powerful for a lot of them is to be productive. And if that means downloading an app that isn't approved by IT, well, too bad. They're just going to do it. Now, of course, let's pause not to be too critical of millennials. When I was young, I'm sure people disliked me just because I was mouthy and arrogant and younger. And I'm sure that so much of the criticism of millennials these days is for exactly the same reason. However, this piece of research I found, which was done on behalf of a company called Snow Software, and they interviewed 3,000 employees, some of them boomerish and some of them millennial. And it seems the millennials are almost twice as likely to break IT admin rules as the boomers. Of course, we always behave ourselves. It's kind of ironic that in an atmosphere where authoritarianism is kind of, cool, at the same time, we're breaking every rule we possibly can. And so here are these millennials, and they have different reasons. Don't think all millennials think the same, according to this research. Because what some of these millennials said is, look, the idea of asking permission, that's just so outdated. Whereas others claimed, you know what, I'm just too scared to ask the IT admin. And a third bunch said, my boss is really pressuring me, and so the most important thing is that I have to show how productive I am. I just don't have time to ask IT admin. And some of those rules are probably quite silly anyway, aren't they? And then the company gets hacked. Because of course what happens is, the whole point of these rules is that the company doesn't want to get hacked. You want approved apps, approved software that IT admin feel they can trust vaguely and handle. Whereas what often happens, it seems, or rather too often, is that the millennials download this stuff and then the company gets hacked. And I wonder how the millennials are good enough not to admit that actually they were the cause of the hack. I mean, you'd think the IT guy would probably be able to spot where the vulnerability might have been, but maybe they can't.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, Chris. When we talk about security, whether it's a huge corporation or a small company, when humans are involved, even with the best of intentions, it seems we're always vulnerable. So when you have a person, or in this case, we're generalizing here, but millennials, you're talking about some serious stuff here if they decide to go rogue.
Well, of course. And of course, the lovely thing is that corporations won't tell us for days, months, weeks, or even years that your data has been stolen, that the company was hacked. And then, even then, they'll say, oh, it was a few 100,000. And then a few months later, you'll learn it was 6 million, and then it was 60 million. And so, yes, there's a lot at stake, but you've got to remember that millennials grew up with technology much more innately as part of themselves than older people did. And so for them, I suspect there's a certain, well, I know how to do this because I've been doing this all my life and nothing's really going to go wrong. And so, they just carry on. However, the research also showed another interesting aspect, that the worst offenders in terms of status in a company were actually senior level executives. So don't promote millennials. And that, of course, just like all of us humans, they're fabulously hypocritical. So a large proportion of them apparently download these apps that they shouldn't, although 93% of them say, well, yeah, we know they can lead to hacks, in parentheses, but I'm just too important and busy to think about that kind of thing. And so I need it right now. I'm going to do it right now. And yes, I may mess with the corporation's future, but so what? I can be productive right now and show what a great boss I am.
Yeah, some great logic there. So, Chris, are there any suggestions, or what did the research say that companies need to do to prevent or just to change the mindset here?
That's part of a management thing. How do you force or persuade or encourage your employees to actually do the sensible thing as opposed to the slightly insane thing. And that's very hard because I guess some companies are better managing people than others. And some find ways, perhaps, to explain, remind, influence those who may be most vulnerable to their own egos not to do these things. But ultimately, it's a management problem. It's actually not a technology problem. I have a lot of sympathy with the IT admins who have to clear up the mess afterwards because they're looking at this going, oh, hell, we have a hack. They probably don't say, oh, hell. They probably say something slightly worse. And they find that there's a mess. Maybe they can trace it back or maybe not. But if they know that so many people are actually ignoring their rules, who'd want that job? I mean, the IT admins might as well sit and play games if the employees are simply not going to respect or understand the importance of the rules in the first place.
All right, Chris, it's always great to talk with you. We appreciate your insight on this. And for Chris's full article, be sure you check out ZDNet.